Hey ghosts, here's Chris from Ghost in the Sphere, a channel dedicated to Eastern philosophy and spiritual self-sufficiency. Today's topic is, why do I love this particular edition of the Yoga Sutras, the one translated and commented by Swami Satchidananda. It's an older edition, nonetheless, in my opinion, it's still the best one. So, why do I love this edition when there are so many others around? Just grab 4, even have more, but why? The first reason is Swami Satchidananda offers a very simple language, but nonetheless plenty of content. His comment is very, very full of content. The criteria which I'm measuring up him and to others is the criteria of pragmatism. That means if I can't use it for my practice, then it's no use. And this edition is the by far most pragmatic version you'll find, or at least I have encountered up till now. If your focus is on really implementing the stuff you read into your daily practice of yoga, of meditation, of all the 8 limbs, then get this version. As an example for his simple language but full content, I just read out his translation of the famous second sutra of the first pada, the definition of yoga as yogas citta vritti nirodha. You all have heard it, I guess. And he translated in the following way: the restraint of the modifications of the mind stuff is yoga. And just to compare it with another author, let's grab that one, which is a real special because it is written by someone who is into Vedanta, or more precisely into Advaita Vedanta. And his general translation is the following: yoga is the mastery, discipline of the thoughts of the mind. So, yoga is the mastery of the thoughts of the mind. Yoga is the restraint of the modifications of the mind stuff. His translation. And the essential part is modification for rittis and mind stuff for citta. Because the English word citta, mind, or the English translation of citta as mind, lacks several dimensions. In German we have the word Geist, which is far more comprehensive than mind. It adds the layers of the mental faculties, like thinking, judging, etc., the aesthetics, the ethics, you all know that, and combining it with the physical part. So you could say it's the capabilities of the mind. But capabilities as the abilities plus the resources to do so is another complicated word. He simply puts it into mind stuff, which is generous because you get it. It's not just the mind, it's all the stuff referring to the mind. And to repeat it again, for me, that's the point. you get what you should get. The second point is he uses everyday examples, really everyday examples. And I guess I should read you one passage after I gave you another point. And it's the third point. It's his simplistic style, as I call it, his pragmatism, which really makes him stand out. And just to compare versions again, let's look at the here. That's his part of the 33rd Sutra of the first Pada, the first book. It's about the 4 keys, and he gives about 2 full pages of comment. Whereas a typical, let's take the Iyengar version, which has, by the way, a lot of charts and drawings, which is quite interesting. He gives the more standard approach. He's even shorter. It just gives us half a page. The standard approach is you get about 1 paragraph for each key, makes 4 paragraphs, makes 1 page. Not in this one. Because the 4 keys are such a valuable tool you can really use and implement in every day. He has commented it more thoroughly. And let's read a paragraph out, or more about. So I'm reading the second paragraph on this page, more or less, and it's about the 4 keys, and let's dive right into it. He writes, when you see a happy person, use the friendliness key. Why should Patanjali say this? Because even 4,000 years ago there must have been people who were not happy at seeing others happy. It is still the same way. Suppose somebody drives up in a big car, parks in front of her huge palatial home and gets out. Some other people are standing on the pavement in the hot sun, getting tired. How many of those people will be happy? Not many. They will be saying, see that big car? She is sucking the blood of the laborers. We come across people like that. They are always jealous. When a person gets name, fame or high position, they try to criticize that person. Oh, you don't know, her brother is so and so. She must have pulled some strings somewhere. They will never admit that she might have gone up by her own merit. But by that jealousy, you will not disturb her, but you disturb your own serenity. She simply got out of the car and walked into the house, but you are burning up inside. That's what I mean. Everyday example. Someone driving up in a big car, people get jealous. And it's a nice additional benefit. It is written before the burst of social media, so it's social media free. Everything is tangible. And he gives advice. He gives many advice. Advice which you can implement into your daily practice. Nonetheless, and that's the 4th point, he gives us necessary association to other central concepts. He explains it using Sanskrit terms or giving references to idioms or parts in the Gita where it is useful. And that's the point. This edition does a great job in listing many parallel parts in the Bhagavad Gita, in the Upanishads, and you find, let's search some part, and you find a lot of footnotes like this. And then you have a reference in the Katha Upanishad, in the Gita, and so on and so on. It's okay if you're searching this, but it's not necessary for your practice. Having 3 reference points for the same part does not mean that you can practice this part better. It's all about getting into practice. And Satchidananda does a real great job into pushing you to practice. And that's the main part. The 5th reason why I love this edition is he sticks to the basic. What does this mean? The Yoga Sutras have 4 padas or 4 books. The first and the second are the more general, pragmatic, aimed for practice. The third is all about the siddhis, the yogic superpowers. And the fourth is, you could say, the synthesis of all the concepts on a higher level, leading toward the ultimate concept of the Jivan Muktan, the liberated person. But why do you need to know something about the siddhis? If your practice is really that advanced that you are coping with siddhis, then I guess you need a good guru to whom you can talk person to person, or you have figured it out on your own. But for sure, you don't need a comment in a book. So, what's the use of all those comments to these really difficult parts of the siddhis? There's no use for the practice. You stick to the basics, you make progress. It's that simple. And it's pragmatic. And that's why I love this version. And as a final example, I read out the quite short comment to the first sutra in the first portion of the book. It's the Atta Yoga Anushasanam, famous too, and he translated it as, now the exposition of yoga is being made. Straight ahead. Anushasanam means exposition or instruction, because it is not mere philosophy that Patanjali is about to expound, but rather direct instruction on how to practice yoga. Mere philosophy will not satisfy us. We cannot reach the goal by mere words alone. Without practice, nothing can be achieved. And I can't think personally of a better summary of his approach and of the value of this particular edition, commented, translated by Swami Satchidananda. It's about the practice, and to get there uses his straight ahead pragmatic approach. So, if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. And as always, I'd love to hear your thoughts and associations down in the comments. What's your favorite edition of the Yoga Sutras? I'm always trying to read new one. See, the Yoga Sutras are one of those books can never truly grasp. Every time you read them, you discover something new. Because every time you read them, you are somebody new. Until next time, happy practice. Bye.